Hello, everyone. Welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast in all of the internet. My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
My name is David Howe. And boy, oh boy, it's just the three of us because it's a special episode, right, guys?
We're talking about it's E3 season, Summer Game Mess, Summer Game Fest. What's Nintendo going to do? I don't know. Let's talk about what we think they might do. Let's figure out. Let's speculate a little bit and predict what Nintendo has plans for the rest of 2022 and maybe looking forward to 2023 and beyond.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say also, it's been it's kind of a strange couple weeks of the show here, and it's not over quite yet. It's the summertime. This is kind of when we made a lot of plans, so forgive all these special episodes in a row here, but hopefully, fingers crossed, this one lines up somewhere around where Nintendo is dropping their summer E3 quote-unquote direct. So we'll see. But
so speaking of, this is totally off the cuff. We didn't plan for this. But if you like JRPGs, we're starting a JRPG club on our Discord. It starts, we're playing Earthbound starting in June. So if you're interested to meet up with other gamers and to talk about Earthbound, over the next play it over 3 months and talk to other people, join our Discord, Super Switch Headz Discord, and come join the JRPG club. And shout out to Donnie for organizing that.
And while we're doing that, we do appreciate hearing from listeners and viewers and that sort of thing. So if you have any thoughts on today's special episode or anything we ever talk about, we'd love to hear from you. And we also appreciate it when people share our podcast online on forums like Reddit, as well as like and subscribe on YouTube.
That's right. Yeah, make sure you subscribe. We hit 300, the big 300.
Yeah.
It only took us 3 solid years.
We're 0.3 of the way to 1K.
Yeah. And you know what happens when we get to 1K? We don't have to talk about it, but you know.
You know.
Only fans.
You know.
Only fans.
But this is a special episode, so we're going to get right into our main topic, which is, what's Nintendo going to do this summer? And in particular, are they going to do a direct around the normal time? And if so, or sometime this summer, what's that going to look like? I think, Nintendo almost always has a direct at E3, usually the Tuesday of E3. There's no way to know what that would have been because there is no E3, but it seems like it would have been June 14th or will be, I guess. I don't know. Time is weird. Or
the 7th, right? Like, I feel like E3 could have been either of those 2 weekends this year. They've done it early and in mid before,
and so we'll never know. But I guess we could start with this discussion of since there is no E3, not that Nintendo ever had to do E3 and ever had to do a direct at E3, but they were kind of seemingly locked into this tradition. Do they try to do a direct at the same time-ish or not? And before we talk about what might be at a direct, let's talk about whether they're even what are the reasons they might want to do it, what are the reasons they might not want to, and that sort of thing. I have some thoughts on this that I can kick it off with if y'all want, but I would love to also hear from y'all.
Yeah, sure. If you've got some ideas, what were you thinking, Patrick?
I think just big picture, looking at the announcements that Nintendo has made for 2022, it definitely doesn't feel like they need to have a direct. I don't know what's considered a tent pole or whatever for their lineup, but I think knowing that post June we have, or post June 1st, right? We have Xenoblade 3, Splatoon 3, Pokemon, the first fully 3D open world mainline Pokemon game, and then Breath of the Wild sequel early next year sometime. Like, those are big things that they could all show more of, right? And will, but I don't expect there to be a lot of other big games. They could do whatever they want. There might be 3 giant games still in the midst of all those, right? But I don't think they would have to. And I think it's more likely in my mind that there's just maybe one other big game, and maybe, I guess what I'm trying to get at is I feel like doing a full direct in June and a full direct in September seems like a lot. based on what we already know. And I wouldn't be surprised if they either combined those or one of them was a mini direct or something.
That's a good point. I mean, I can see the value in that thinking. I don't know that I agree 100%, but I do. It is kind of like when you like make plans with somebody and you're kind of dreading it, and then they cancel the plans and you're like, oh, thank God. And then you just get to like stretch your legs a little bit and you're like, okay, cool. We could just do this next time. You know what I mean? Like I could see Nintendo doing a little bit of that, but I do think that there are more unannounced games. See, for me, I see windows at the end of the year that are wide open, right? For holiday games, that for games that we don't even know exist yet, for unannounced stuff and stuff that needs dates, right? So I think that they purposefully didn't reveal things at their February direct to hold for this E3 direct. And then when E3 was officially canceled, I think they were like, look, we already have this stuff in motion. We already have the marketing already set. And then so much stuff has been pushed back into next year already that I think that they felt confident being able to do that because they had other stuff in store for this holiday. And so I feel like this E3 is when we're going to hear about what those games are. That would be my thought anyway. I don't know what you think about that, Matt.
Yeah, I think I probably align with Patrick a little more of Nintendo is, if we zoom out, we know this summer is going to be a little chaotic with no E3, similar to last year. And, you know, Nintendo's probably looking at the moves that Microsoft are making in the form of like Starfield and Game Pass and what Sony's doing for PlayStation Plus, as well as their other tentpole titles. You know, Sony just came out with the State of Play. They announced that. And so Nintendo is the only company that hasn't announced any direct or any kind of showcase that's happening this summer. It would make sense to me for them to combine it because a lot of the stuff they've already talked about with a third option or second option, however you count, would be they do a Xenoblade direct right, you know, a week before that releases in the end of July.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking a bit about 2020 here, right? Because I mean, like last year there was an E3, whatever you want to call it, of some nature, right? Like last year in 2021 there was the digital E3, right? And you know, Nintendo was there for that, obviously. But I think look at 2020 when there was really nothing, right? Like that was the Wild West of
the partner showcase.
Fresh COVID. Yeah, that's when the partner showcases started, right?
They're contractually obligated directs.
Isn't that the year too?
Which is kind of what I think this might be too.
Right.
If they do a mini or something.
Didn't we get around E3 time that year? Isn't that when we got the announcement of the Mario All-Stars 3D thing? It was like a whole Mario direct, right?
I think that was it towards the end of the year.
Or was that the September direct?
Yeah, I think so.
It was September 3rd, 2020.
Okay, so earlier that's when they started doing the partner stuff. Yeah.
I think you may have convinced me that they definitely have to do something because they probably have been planning for this and contractually obligated to do it. But I think I'm more and more convinced that whether it's this one or the September one, there might be like a mini or, God forbid, a partner showcase kind of situation just because of all the games we know about. Now, maybe I'm wrong and they're really going to hit us hard with a lot of games. And I think they do have stuff to show us, like the Mario Kart DLC tracks and stuff that maybe they were planning for here. But they might be like, you know what? Let's just focus on third party stuff, show off some of the games we've talked about, make this a mini or something.
I don't know why, but it's the Mario Kart 8 deluxe tracks. It's like they planned for 3 directs a year with that release strategy.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, I don't know if that's enough for them to be like, we need to do a whole presentation. You could easily Twitter drop that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's like, I don't know, man. I just feel like Nintendo is like, they always do curveballs. They always do their own thing, but they're also like strangely creatures of habit, you know, and like to get, especially with the DLC release strategy for like Smash was always like
totally
on the clock every single time, you know?
I mean, as I've been like thinking about and reading about marketing of video games, which I've been doing recently, like there is this cycle in the big game companies. They have, it's a machine, so they have things working towards it, and so
they have forecasts and schedules and strategies and all that
so
stuff.
I'm sure, but at the same time, I could see them saying to themselves, this gives us, like you said, our date or what a friend canceled on us. What are our options here? And if everybody else is doing a showcase in June, what if we slow down and do it in July or August or something?
Right. Well, see, like Nintendo likes E3. They get along, but as soon as it backs out, it's like, okay, yeah, we're fine. Let's do our own thing.
One last thing before we get into actual direct predictions. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that they do a June direct as they had originally planned before the cancellation of E3. What do they do about the Treehouse? Do they do a Treehouse stream from their NOA headquarters, like I think they did in 2020? Do they just scrap the whole thing? What would you see happening there? Do you think that they would still even do it at all?
Man, that's a good question.
Like looking back, they have a Nintendo Treehouse presentation June 15th, 2021, which was the same day as the Direct. If we have a Direct, we're probably going to have a Treehouse. It's got to be a package deal.
It's like
but
live streamed or pre-recorded from their own headquarters.
But I don't think we'll have just a Treehouse. It'll be connected.
Yeah.
Because the Direct is always like, here's the games, here's the trailer, here's what they look like. Then the Treehouse is always, let's play them so people can understand how these games look and feel.
Sure.
One of the reasons I'm inclined towards there being a Direct Mini or game specific Directs like Matthew talked about is how much we know is coming. And I think that's an argument for there being a Treehouse, right? Like that there are so many big exclusive games set for this year that they could show off at a Treehouse better than in a Direct even, you know what I mean? So I think that's, I don't know, but I think they do it. I think they do their own Treehouse. I think that would be cool if they did. I hope they do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. The Treehouse people have become like personalities in their own right. I'd like to see them this year. Yeah.
Well, unless there's any final thoughts on the sort of if question, which is going to be looming over us, but we'll move on to the if there is, then what? What does it look like? Or when there is, what does it look like? Kind of a question. So assuming there's a Direct in June or sometime in the summer near upcoming, there's a lot of announced games that could be shown off. And then there's obviously some rumored games and some third party. Undoubtedly, there'll be third party stuff. But let's start with announced games. I think, like Matthew said, some of these games might not be shown off because maybe they'll get their own game specific Direct. And I would be surprised if they don't. Maybe that doesn't, those things aren't mutually exclusive. I don't think it's very likely that we'll get a Direct before Mario Strikers comes out, but I guess it's possible. Like you said, if they wanted to go for June 7th. But the fact that they have given us, well, now that I'm talking about this, they've mentioned that there's going to be post-launch support, but they haven't told us what it is. So that's something they could show in a Direct.
Yeah, because Nintendo had the tweet where they said they will have post-launch support, and some of that will look like new characters, but they didn't go on to say how many or who.
So
that's something they could show, but I think, the timing of that makes me think that game will be out, but that is whether it's out or not. That's something that
I think it's the same. I think it's the same thing. Either way, I do think Strikers is going to get some lip service. If you just look at old E3s, like they often do these around Mario Sports releases, these E3s, or like the not even Mario Sports games, just games that release. Yeah. They'll have like a little blurb, be like, don't forget this game's out right now at the very least, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think going over some, a bit of a game plan for whatever their post DLC plans are going to be, that makes a lot of sense to me as well.
Yeah, and then, we've got Xenoblade 3 and Splatoon 3, which I think are very likely to be in any, showing off at least somewhat, give us some more details. They've been info dumping Xenoblade though. So I don't know what the strategy there is. Just
I've-
keep that in the news, I guess. It's the strategy.
I've got a prediction for Splatoon 3. And I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I think that for sure at this E3, they will be going over a new mode in this game, because kind of every trailer for Splatoon 3 that we've seen so far has kind of gone over one specific portion of the game. And so I think that they're going to use this, what would have been E3 Direct, to really showcase what is the new gimmick of this game. What is the new feature? Last time it was Salmon Run for Splatoon 2, the co-op mode. We know that's coming back, and that's coming back expanded. I don't think that's it. I think we'll get some sort of, be it battle royale, or be it some sort of big team battle, or some like really expanded single player experience. Whatever it is, I think that we'll see whatever this new mode for this game specifically is for Splatoon 3 as kind of like their last big push. And honestly, whatever it is, it's probably what has been delaying the game up to this point. And it's why it's the last thing that they've shown before release. That would be my prediction anyway.
That's a good one. I like that. I think that's very possible. And all those ideas make me excited.
Yeah. And even talking, you were talking about modes in Splatoon 3. Nintendo recently announced like all of the old weapons from Splatoon 2 will be returning. And so I could also see a trailer where we see either new types of weapons or just new kind of models of existing weapons. Maybe some more classic Zapper or things that play homage to old Nintendo properties like a Super Scope or something.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just think like a 64 player battle royale mode would be really, really cool in Splatoon 3. I don't know. I just think it would work really, really well.
Available every other day for 12 hours.
You gather 63 of your friends and say, all right, start 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. You can only play it locally. Yeah.
Locally on one Switch.
Yeah.
Not docked.
Well, unless there's anything else on Xenoblade or Splatoon, what about the sequel to Breath of the Wild? I'll say that I feel like if there's a June Direct, they don't mention it.
Yeah, I kind of want to say that too for some reason, even though I know that's not. Even though you would think that they would have to be here, right?
No, now that we know it's not till next year, they could do it at the end of this year. They could do it at the beginning of next year. I feel like they've just no mention of it. Or
you
if
don't think we get a
mention
title reveal or like a date or something?
I feel like there's none, but that's me.
Yeah.
Or if there is mention of it, maybe it's something like that. It's like, we wanted to update you that we're still working on it, and here's the title. And in the meantime, enjoy these other Zelda games or something, which is getting ahead of ourselves a little bit.
I can see that. Yeah.
Which is getting into unannounced speculative stuff. But
no, let's jump to that, because I do think now that you say it like that, I feel like that's most likely, right? Like they've been doing that. That's like if they didn't do that, I would be surprised at this point now. You know what I mean? So what do they give us? Do they give us the Wind Waker or Twilight Princess remakes, or do we see a new 2D remake like Oracle of Seasons or Ages? What do you guys think is more likely there?
More likely Wind Waker and or Twilight Princess, though I think it would be cooler if it was the Oracle the Capcom games. But,
yeah, because that's also been rumored,
but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I would love to play Wind Waker on my Switch. I hope that it's Wind Waker.
Yeah.
It also could be nothing. Could be zero Zelda in this. Totally.
What I would love for it to be Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Right. I'll say right now, if they do that, I predict they're going to sell them separately. And they're going to be either 50 or 60 each. Yeah. I bet 50 feels right. They'll do both for 50 and you can get a double pack for 100. And it's like, it's the same as buying them separate. Right. But they'll have them in a double pack for the price of them both separate. Right. And then this is not really a prediction. This is just something I've wanted this whole time. I think that it's high time that we get additionally a new NSO perk, right? for the base model, for the baseline Nintendo Switch online subscription. Now, we'll get into this a little bit later as to what that could be in terms of traditional consoles or legacy consoles. But I really think that fucking Four Swords Adventures,
They could tie it into Zelda somehow. Yeah.
absolutely bring back Four Swords Adventures and make it a freebie that comes with NSO, because that is something that's going to require online, right? So you would need the thing anyway. So having that be a pack in that you can play with your friends, as another, it's like, oh, and we're doing these two games because you're not getting Breath of the Wild information. And then also as a perk for NSO subscribers, everybody gets Four Swords Adventures. I think that would be really great to bring that back. They brought it back briefly for the 3DS. And I think that it would be a really good idea to bring it back to the Switch.
Unless there's anything else on.
Yes, one more thing about Zelda. I don't think we'll get any new footage of the sequel to the Breath of the Wild. It'll just be what was that? Ayanuma will come out and announce the title.
I kind of think that too. I think it's been so long with no title.
5 to 10 second clip, right in the middle of whatever this thing is, and then it moves on real fast. Or that's how it ends.
Yeah, and it'll be enough, and fans will be happy just getting the title, right? Like there'll be compilations of people freaking out at the title, They'll have one E3 with just that, So I think it's a flash in the pan, cat in the bag. I don't know what the expression is, but it's theirs to lose.
Do you think that we will get a new date for Advance Wars? Do you think that they'll decide to put that back on the schedule, or you think they're going to keep holding Advance Wars?
I don't know. Is Putin dead yet?
No. Things haven't changed in that regard.
We are recording this episode a little early. So.
Yeah, you got. I don't know. I feel like that could be something they use to pad out the end of the year, and maybe this is where they show it off because they're like, we've got this game. Though I could also see them being sensitive to holding off on that. So
I don't think they need to now. I don't think they really need this game. I don't think they ever needed this game, to be honest, right? And so I think that they know that they're like, they thought it was worth it to delay it, right? I think that if they are going to announce when it's coming back, I think we'll see that in the September or October direct, personally.
Bayonetta 3 is coming out allegedly in 2022, right? So if there's a direct, I think that's very likely to be shown off, or at least a little bit more info about it and a date or a window.
I think we'll get a date. It'll be Halloween.
Yeah, that makes the most sense, right?
Yeah,
that's the October slot, or one of the things in October.
What day is Halloween this year? Let's see.
Isn't it? Oh, you mean day of the week?
Yeah. I was thinking the same
joke. It's
joke.
A Monday. Yeah. What, the 31st?
Yeah. We're assholes. So we're like, you idiot! Don't you know your calendar?
October 27th release date for Bayonetta.
And we've talked a lot already about the Mario Kart 8 DLC tracks. Are those like shadow dropped? Does it line up for it to be June, right? Like, because it was March, and we think they come out every 3 months. Am I wrong on that? That's totally my memory.
Yeah, I think
4 months they would come out, right?
Is it 4?
If it's 3 drops a year, right? It's 12 months in a year.
But either way, that would definitely be something that we would see in this.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we'll get what they're going to be, and then I think they're going to show off what they're going to be, and we'll get them in the following like 2 to 3 weeks. So sometime in July, I would guess.
Yeah. And we won't see the new Pokemon game. They don't usually show those in directs. They'll do their own thing. Maybe it'll be mentioned, but this isn't really a first party game, but sort of is. Mario Rabbids 2, another 2022 game that hasn't really been shown off recently. So I feel like it's ripe for a date and a trailer if it remains to be in 2022, but or they delay it, who knows.
If I'm looking at these trailer dates, we maybe the last time that we heard big news about this or I got a major trailer was in June of last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we'll definitely see it here. This one feels like a no-brainer. even if it's delayed, I think we'll
Yeah.
see it at this direct. Yeah. I don't, as far as I'm aware, Ubisoft is not doing their own presentation. Have
we
they
haven't
announced
heard
anything?
They have not.
No.
Yeah,
I'm kind of
so
surprised, but
Yeah. I mean, Ubisoft is kind of going through a bit of a sea change right now. Or they've got their own drama at the moment, so I think it's maybe just not really on their mind. Last big thing we heard about Ubisoft is their platform is being bundled in with PlayStation Plus, right? So it's like I don't think that they need to do a big presentation right now. So the Nintendo Direct is, I think, the obvious place to put this game. Now, the first game was revealed at a Ubisoft event and not at a Direct. They brought Miyamoto out onto the Ubisoft presentation. But if that's not going to be the case this year, then yeah, I think we see it at the Direct.
Just talking a little bit more on Ubisoft. Like if they're not having their own showcase, then we will probably see them in whatever Nintendo has, whatever Sony has, and whatever Xbox has.
totally.
Yeah.
And then did I miss anything? Is there any other big announced? I mean, there's obviously Metroid Prime 4, but I don't think that's going to be shown off.
I do think it's going to be shown off.
You do think it's going to be shown off at this one at June?
Yeah.
There you go.
I think we haven't seen one fucking peep from this game, right? And I think that
just because it's on people's minds, you think they feel like obligated to show something now?
well, so we have later in here the Metroid Prime remake or trilogy thing,
Yeah.
right? What I feel we get out of this is similar to what we got out of Bayo 3, right? Which is, and what we were just talking about with the Breath of the Wild sequel, right?
Somebody
Which is,
comes out.
yeah, they're hard at work in God's good Austin, Texas, on
if Austin doesn't get mentioned,
yeah.
Yeah.
If they don't show pictures of barbecue, okay, I'm changing this thing to a Valve podcast. Anyway, no, I think they say that Metroid Prime 4 is still in development. I think they show an updated logo at least, and I do think we even see maybe a small cinematic trailer saying coming soon. I don't think we even see a release window for it, but I do think that they show a bit of a cinematic trailer for it, right? Something with the environment. You know, we saw that header a while ago, right? So they're working on environments, they're working on tone and stuff like that. So I think we'll see something like that. Be like, this is still in development. And while you wait, here's a remake of the original Metroid Prime coming straight to Switch, built in the same engine that they're going to be using for this game, right? I don't think it's just going to be an HD Prime hack version of the game where it's just upscaled, even though that's all they need to do, right? Because the games are already gorgeous and they play well. You just got to adapt it for 2 sticks, which you can do on the Steam Deck, by the way. But I think all they got to do is be like, here it is. It's a remake of Metroid Prime 1. And then if they're smart, they dole these out up until the point when Metroid Prime 4 comes out, like one a year or one every 9 months or whatever, right? I don't think they'll probably do that. I think they're probably just going to do the first game and put it out. But that would be my prediction. I do think it's finally time that we see whatever this Metroid Prime remake is and get a little bit of lip services to this game. Because it's been like 6 years now, right? Or not 6 years, 5 years since they announced it.
Yeah, it was Game Awards, right? December of
2017.
Yeah. So it's been a long ass time, dude. And so it's like they got to show something, you know.
And then Metroid Prime Trilogy, that originally came out in 2009.
Like the Wii.
Yeah, the Wii version.
Yeah. So it's been a long time coming. I think I really feel like you
convinced me. I think
they Dread was a success for them. They were happy with the Dread sales. I think they'll talk about Dread. Maybe they'll have another little bonus DLC add-on for Dread. They have a little Metroid section, right? But also tie really, really well in with GBA games if they announce that as well.
I think that you're right, that if they do show off a remake or a trilogy for anything Metroid Prime, they're going to give some lip service to Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
All right. Here's what it looks like. You see the ending of Dread. I won't spoil what that ending is, but then you see Dark Samus investigate that area, and then Metroid Prime 4. release date, whenever that one is.
Yeah.
Damn.
Someday.
The timelines are crossing over.
Yeah.
Metroid and the multiverse of Dreadness.
So we're kind of in the rumored, unannounced, speculative territory here completely. One of the unannounced rumored games has been some sort of Fire Emblem, possibly a remake or new game as well. I would totally forgot to mention unannounced games that could be shown off. The Fire Emblem, what's it called? Three Hopes.
Oh yeah, they'll probably show that.
It comes out in June 28th.
Yeah.
So that'll be out later this month.
That's so the Three Hopes game makes me think that they won't show anything else Fire Emblem related, but maybe they will. I don't know. I guess I feel like Three Hopes, the Warriors type game, doesn't appeal to me. So I feel like they have to it's kind of like they have to focus on that until that is out. But maybe that's just me projecting my opinions onto a marketing scheme.
Think about the kind of strategy that Nintendo and Koei Tecmo did with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. It's not like they were like, here's Age of Calamity, but don't worry, Breath of the Wild 2 is still coming. They were just like, it's just Age of Calamity, right? So I don't think they're going to cross market. I do think that there is a Fire Emblem Echoes in development right now, but I don't think we see it till September.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. But if the rumors about this Donkey Kong game, it's been unclear if it's 2D or 3D or country or completely different Donkey Kong, but
or even who's developing it.
Yeah, right. Like internally at Japan, the Mario Odyssey team, maybe the 3D Mario team, has been some rumors, but there's a Donkey Kong game rumored to be in development that's supposed to be close to done, if not done, right? Allegedly. This seems like a good time to show it off, and this seems like possibly, of the things we've heard about, the one big ending or opening thing to me, right?
Yeah, here's what happens. It's the ending of Metroid Dread, and then Donkey Kong lands and is investigating the area, and then takes off to destroy Planet Zebus.
Yep.
And it's Samus and Donkey Kong.
And then it's Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Country, and then it's Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong, right? And then also Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong, right?
Okay,
and it's Donkey Kong and the donkey verse of Donkness.
Yeah. I'm in.
Yeah. No, but I think I think we see this. Yes. Unless this is a fucking Star Fox Grand Prix situation where it's just like this game of telephone with leakers where they keep going like, oh, well, their source, I have my own source, and all the sources are the same. And it's just somebody who's made something up a long time ago, right? Or it got lost in the shuffle, right? So it very well could be that. But this one really did feel like it had some legs. And I do think this would be a really big announcement. And this feels like a big unannounced game for the holiday, right? I think that this, whether it's a 2D game, whether it's a 3D game, whatever it is, I think a classic Donkey Kong game again would be a pretty big deal. And I would think that would fit right into the holidays or somewhere around another kind of September, October sort of situation. Even like January or something, 2023. I feel like that would still be something that they would show off at this summer direct.
Agreed. And I hope that this is true, or I hope that there's something like this, because I really would love, the Kirby game before it launched really felt like it might fill that niche of Nintendo platformer, fun, and it was great, but it didn't feel as difficult or as deep as what I'm hoping for with like a new Donkey Kong or Mario game or something,
Yeah. It'd be funny if we got instead a video being like, so we had our team at Nintendo making this thing, and we've decided we're going to cancel the game and give it back to Retro.
There's been enough rumors. We feel like we have to address
exactly. It. Yeah. And Retro's like, all right, I guess we're hiring 70 more people.
Yep. I believe it.
I don't know if there's but David, sorry. Go.
Well, yeah, I think you're going to ask about any other games.
Any other rumored things that are, or
what do we think about Pikmin 4?
Man, I hope so.
I really kind of feel like it might be the time. Maybe not at this direct, but I think like, there's
soonish.
been Miyamoto said Pikmin 4 was almost done like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think like, especially if they pushed a bunch of games that were originally supposed to come at the end of 2022 back, I think any games that they've been holding on to in their back pocket, waiting for a good release window, now is the time that they whip them out. And I think Pikmin 4 might be one of those, right? I think that they worked a lot on Pikmin 4. And then in lieu of releasing Pikmin 4, they were like, you know what? Let's just hold on to this game and let's remaster Pikmin 3 because not enough people actually played that game on the Wii U. And it's a really good game and people deserve to play it. So they decided instead to do that. That's kind of like my headcanon.
No, and they added little story segments that allow for maybe a bridge to be a little bit clearer.
Yeah. So I think it's very likely they've been sitting on Pikmin 4 for like multiple years at this point, right? And that it's just been sitting done in the vault waiting to release.
Yeah,
so I think that,
or somewhere it got completely restarted and now is ready or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's very much a real possibility. I wouldn't say that it's likely, but I would love to see that. I'd love to see it happen just so I could smugly be like, hey, look, I said it in the predictions video.
We'd be super hype over here if that happened.
Yeah. For sure.
That's a good one. And we can do more just like speculative stuff like that too post this, but new NSO offerings, new system, there's been lots of rumor of that too. And I feel like that feels possible here, but also because of the fact that they've always traditionally kind of done that in September, I could see that being something that happened in September, though I think that got broken years ago. You know what I mean? So like there's no reason for it to not be here other than maybe because of the annual service being a year long that they might want to tease that now for a September release or something, if that makes sense. You know what I'm trying to say?
I think so. Yeah. I think you've got a couple options. I think that something will be announced for NSO outside of what I was hoping for with Four Swords Adventures. This is not that notwithstanding. I think as far as classic consoles are concerned, you've got one of two options. Really three options. One is you announce what new N64 games are coming, if any, right? Because by this point, Pokemon Snap should be at least dated, I would imagine. I imagine actually within the next couple weeks when we're recording this, which is at the end of May, that we'll have a date for Pokemon Snap, right? Or they, in this direct, say, here's when Pokemon Snap is coming out in June, right? Because that's the last game to come out that they've said is coming out. And they're like, here's the date. And then here are the next round of N64 games that are going to be coming over the next whatever months, right? So I think that's a possibility. I think also then there's the whole Game Boy Advance rumor that we've been hearing, right? Like the leaked Game Boy emulator build. Now, I kind of feel like this is less likely. I feel like this is more September, right? I think what we'll see instead is like more stuff for the expansion pack with N64, right? And I think mainly because everybody's kind of got Game Boy Advance and Game Boy on the brain right now because of that emulator, but that only just leaked. That has been in development since 2020, like that build was even from like early 2020, right? So it's not like there's been movement within Nintendo recently that we know of about that. It's only that it just leaked recently, right? So I think that you're right, Patrick. I feel like September feels like a good date to drop new systems. So I don't know that we would see it this go round, but I mean, I would love it. I think that would be for the best if they did show Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. But what do you guys think about that?
I feel like we see a new system or additional DLC options as the add-on packs. So that we already talked about Mario Kart. Maybe we see Super Mario Party or a Mario Party Superstar DLC, 4 levels for that. That's part of NSO.
Breath of the Wild Master Mode maybe added.
Yeah. Existing DLC coming to
That's
the
what-
banner of NSO.
Instead of anything else we talked about, that one actually could be an easy thing for Nintendo to do. Be like, here's the title, and while you wait, if you're a subscriber,
replay Breath of the Wild harder
to expansion pack, you can get the DLC for free now.
Yeah.
That's kind of disappointing, but I feel like that's
you feel like that's the play.
that feels like a good play.
Just repackage this stuff that you already own and give it back
that
to
I already
you.
bought. Yeah. That's totally why it feels possible.
Value.
But I do think that there is something new here for NSO, whether it comes out right then or not, but probably right then. So yeah, so new system seems possible, more likely to me for September for the reasons we've already discussed. But I think, Matt, you've got me on board with something now, whether it's DLC or a something. Yeah, 99 game or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Nintendo, you know what I want? It's Mario 99, an expansion of Super Mario Brothers 35 that includes Mario, Mario 2, Mario 3, and Mario World. And it's 99 instead of 35. And David plays it every day until he dies.
Well, before we move on to third party, is there anything else y'all think Nintendo would do? Is there any, you mentioned Pikmin 4. Is there anything like that?
I think I think we'll hear, or I want to hear more about what Nintendo's doing in the theme park business, the new Donkey Kong Land, maybe more information about Nintendo when they're building in California at their theme park there. And on top of that, like more animated projects.
I think we see a teaser for the Mario movie.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's say yes.
It wouldn't be a full trailer, right? Like that would be later in the year, especially if it's coming out early next year. It's early next year, right? Did they say when, or they just say 2023?
I don't remember what they said.
Yeah, I feel like they did. I think you're right. I want to say that they said spring, but so many things from this year are now spring of next year that I'm mixing it up.
December 2022 to April 2023,
somewhere in that realm. Yeah. I think we see a teaser. I think we it's just like Mario's back. Like pans
okay, it's the end of Metroid Dread, and Mario, warp pipe comes up from the bottom, and Mario pops out. He's like, "What happened?"
Chris Meledandri,
and then another one pops up. It's Bob Hoskins. Rest in peace.
And then another one pops up, and it's Mario from the animated television show.
Ridiculous. I think that would be great. I do think an update on the park makes a good amount of sense. I could see that, especially now that when we're recording this, Star Wars Celebration is going on right now, and they're doing a lot of similar stuff in that, where they're delving pretty deeply into the parks and the hotel and all that, all the interactive in-person stuff, right? So I could see Nintendo kind of taking a page out of that book.
Well, we'll kind of close this out with third-party stuff. The ones that jump to my mind are sort of the indie exclusive or tied to Nintendo games of Sports Story and Silksong. I don't think we see both of them. That's possible, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw one or the other. Silksong, they won most anticipated game from like some Unity award earlier this month in May, and they made some comment about it can't be too much longer, surely, in their statement, which is great and funny.
Hilarious.
Doesn't mean anything, but like I do think that game is going to be shown off in a direct.
Yeah, it's not going to be an indie world.
Yeah, it's not going to be an indie world or a Twitter drop. I think that Nintendo has console rights to it, at least for whatever their deal is, right? Like I think they had Hollow Knight. They had Hollow Knight for a year, was it, or more? And Silksong was shown off in a treehouse. I don't know that they do that, but I don't believe it is announced for any other platforms outside of Steam. And the Switch, I believe, is the case. So I think they have console. My guess would be they have console for like a year. it's a weird situation because it's like it was going to be you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like Kickstarter DLC.
It was going to be
originally,
Kickstarter DLC, and then it turned
yeah.
into its own game. But my sort of take on it is that because at this point I would be surprised if they didn't have to have exclusivity, that they wouldn't be targeting multi-plat release.
Yeah, maybe the exclusivity was like from 2021 to 2022,
and so
they
that's
took
why
too
they're
long
waiting,
developing it, that the contracts are now void and they could just release it everywhere at once.
Regardless, I really think because of the adoption rate on Switch and stuff that it'll be in a direct, and I think this one's possible, though there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think Sports Story is also a possibility. I just like kind of forget that game even is a thing. Every time anybody brings it up, I'm like, oh yeah, Golf Story was a game, and there was like going to be a sequel with tennis. I don't know,
and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, one thing. This is not third-party stuff, but do you think we'll see anything about Switch Sports expansion of any nature in this, or do you think they save that until September?
That could fill Matthew's DLC, expansion pack DLC thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's similar to like Animal Crossing. Mm-hmm. You can buy it if you want to, or it comes with an expansion pack for NSO.
Animal Crossing's done. Yeah, you think we're done getting updates for Animal Crossing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
As far as third party stuff, that was just kind of me remembering that. But I think as far as third party stuff, I would expect some surprises here. I think that we'll see now that the Switch is like 5+ years old. I think that a lot of the third party devs are learning how to play with the ARM architecture of the Switch and get a lot of their bigger games onto this thing. I think we'll see some pretty surprising exclusives. I think we might see something that was previously an Xbox exclusive, something from Microsoft, right? I think maybe we'll see God of War Ragnarok release day 1 on the Switch. That's a joke. You guys aren't laughing.
I was like, you said it so deadpan.
Yeah,
I was like,
oh. Let's do it. I believe it.
No, but it's like,
boy.
I something like that. It's the stuff that's really hard to predict, right? But I feel like there will be something like that here for sure. I know it's kind of a cop out to make a prediction like that, but I just think something that was like a console exclusive to one of the other big boys is going to show up here as well. And everybody's going to be like, whoa, and then not buy it.
It's possible, yeah.
I got a Hail Mary speculation. What's House doing? The developer of Untitled Goose Game. That game came out in 2019. We haven't heard of their next project or what it might be. Untitled Goose Game got a co-op, back in 2020, 2021?
Yeah.
Whatever their next project is. It could be a sequel to Untitled Goose Game or maybe some other...
Untitled Platypus Game.
Yeah. Just a palette swap. Just a grab and slap.
Yeah, I think you're right, David, that here we can just expect a slew of things. Right, it's gonna be
there'll be like a montage of like third party stuff that's all like 360 games.
Mm-hmm. Everyone now wants to get their game on the Switch, and
exactly. Maybe we'll see Portal, the Portal collection, or Valve is like, and now we're doing Half-Life 2. Enjoy it. And you're just like, oh, okay. You guys want me to buy a Steam Deck, right? Like, why are you doing this? It'll be something like that,
And Gabe comes out and he's like, I just like money. So here's the thing.
However you want to buy our games.
Yeah. Well, it turns out I like money.
Well, we're going to wrap this up then. Is there anything else y'all want to make sure and mention before we close out this episode? Anything else that might happen?
I hope this direct happens. Like, that's the one thing that I think is shitty just for us about there being no E3 this year is we don't have a scheduled time as to when Nintendo's Direct is going to be. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that they used to do a lot better before, where it's like, hey, we're going to have a Direct in like a week. And it's like, great. That gives us time to like make content and like get shit out and get our predictions in order. And with E3, you could always do that because you knew exactly when it was going to be, like months ahead of time. Right. But this one, for sure, if there is one in June, Nintendo's going to tell us what it is, like the day before or 2 days before, right? Mm-hmm. And I will say, I don't think it's going to be on Tuesday. This go around, the only reason they did that was because it was the last day of E3, and then everybody goes out onto the floor for the next couple days, right? There's no reason to do that now. I think this will be on a Thursday, like they normally are. So hopefully we can get this thing out on Wednesday as planned, and it comes out the following day. That would be my hope.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, well then I think, unless there's anything else, that does it. Thanks to MilkyWay.co, who does our website. Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, I am PDYX online.
Hey, I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much ever on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And if you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter. We are at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us online at switchheadz.com. And we've got a Discord and a Facebook group, 2 great communities. The links of both will be in the description of this video or audio version of this podcast episode. Folks, that's going to do it on this E3 predictions episode. Let us know what you think. I had a great time discussing this with you boys. It's good to be back. We'll be back next week, maybe? Not even actually sure. We might be off next week. We're recording this ahead of time. I haven't completely figured it out. We're all taking vacations in June. So we'll let you guys know what's going on social media. So make sure you watch that space. Regardless, after this crazy month of June is over, we're going to be going back to regularly scheduled episodes. We got a whole year of great shows planned for you guys. So make sure you stick around. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and all that shit. And also, you know what, folks? Make sure you get that vaccine. You know, I came down with COVID, and look at me. I'm doing a podcast. Listen to it. I've got the radio voice still, right? I owe that to Pfizer BioNTech. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, rim me, daddy, BioNTech. What am I saying? Anyway, all right, look, we're going to be back soon. We love you guys. Be well. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.